Hello everybody and welcome to Jeep Tracks. I'm Tim Hansen. You know, I love to go off-roading. I love to drive the trails. I love to get out in nature. I'm a videographer, I'm a photographer, a survivalist, a paranormal investigator, and I love adventure and I love history. And you know, a great day for me is taking my Jeep and exploring nature. Sometimes, however, I also like to just go out and enjoy a drive. One of my favorite drives that is close to home is the historical areas between Denver to Buffalo Creek. About 25 miles south of Denver on Highway 85, there's this little-known town of Sedalia. Now in 1871, the Rio Grande came through here, and they built a new depot. They called it Plum Station, or Plum. In May of 1882, the town's name was changed to Sedalia. The booming town was not only situated on the Rio Grande Railroad, but it was also the popular First Territorial Road. Many settlers were drawn here, and visitors came for the scenery and recreational opportunities. And businessmen, well, they came here to cash in on the settlement of the West. It was a major shipping point for the lumber industry in the Pike National Forest, and a stopover for those who were seeking fortune opportunities in the metal-rich mines of the Rocky Mountains. There was a lot of people that also came for the lumber industry and the granite quarries of the Rocky Mountains. Businesses in Sedalia at that time included Marquis Victor's, a blacksmith shop, the Manhart General Store, the 25-Mile House and Saloon, the Weaver House, and there was even a cigar manufacturer. I encourage you to take a drive or just walk through Sedalia. It contributes so much to the history of not only Colorado, but the settlement of the West. Let's go ahead and leave Sedalia by way of Highway 67 going toward Deckers. Now this drive alone is beautiful and scenic. I don't care what time of the year it is. It's absolutely a gorgeous drive. And you're going to drive about 16 miles until you reach the North Platte River Road. As you can see right here on the map, just take a right. Now one of those first buildings you're going to come to is the South Platte Hotel. What a great place to visit. Now this place was once a town on the Southern Colorado Railroad line, a narrow gauge railroad that went from Denver to Como, Colorado. The town was originally called Symes, or Sims. It later became known as South Platte, as it sat there on the South Platte River. Now the South Platte Hotel is all that remains. The one pictured is actually a replacement of the original, and I'll tell you all about that here in a minute. The Colorado and Southern Railroad built a depot on the opposite side of the tracks from the hotel. Sitting next to the depot was another small building called the Log Cabin Inn. It was a bait shop that served those that came to fish in the South Platte River, and even though it wasn't quite advertised, the Log Cabin Inn, well, they actually sold whiskey, not bait. So the South Platte Hotel was built by Charles and Millie Walbreck. It served as both a stage stop and a rail stop until the depot was built. It was also known as the Walbreck Hotel. It served travelers going up the South Fork of the Platte River and tourists who would come up just to sightsee or go fishing or take a picnic for the day. Now Willie Walbreck was reportedly a rather large woman and also worked at the depot. Because of her size, she could easily handle those large steamer trunks popular in that era. The Ballou two-horse stagecoach also took travelers from South Platte to Nighthawk to Deckers and then on into West Creek. In August of 1912, the drunken stage driver George Ballou, age 29, walked into the South Platte Hotel's barroom and confronted Charles and Millie Walbreck, accusing them of convincing his 16-year-old wife to leave him. George was allegedly very abusive towards his bride, and she had returned to her parents' home in New Mexico. George, drunk and on a rampage with his .45 pistol, shot Charles Walbreck once, shot Millie Walbreck 4 times, and 2 tourists. A posse was formed and he was followed to La Junta, Colorado. George Ballou stole a wagon, a horse, and a buggy in his attempt to get away. He was shot in the thigh by a deputy, and a standoff occurred in a field south of La Junta. George Ballou then committed suicide. Fortunately, all of the wounded did survive, and they were all hospitalized in Denver. We leave the South Platte and follow it on upstream. I want to show you some pictures of the amazing rock formations and boulders that are along the way in this canyon, which is also known as Waterton Canyon. Now before all the settlers came, the Ute Indians, the Cheyenne, and the Arapaho, they came here to hunt, fish, and to take shelter in the outcroppings. We are now driving on what was once the rail bed of the Colorado and Southern Railroad. We come to Foxton, about 5 miles from South Platte. There's a sign, but this building is pretty easy to identify. It's made of logs, and the building was the post office for the settlement of Foxton. It also served as the train depot, and originally it was called Park Siding because of the park-like settings. Located on the banks of the South Platte River, this settlement was established in 1909. It's near the Colorado Trail, and it's a local landmark and listed on the North Fork Historic District. We're going to continue on up about 5 miles more to Buffalo Creek. Now this is our final destination on this little afternoon drive. When you get to Buffalo Creek, you're going to see the post office and store that's located at the junction of North Platte River Road and Highway 126. The J.W. Green Mercantile was originally built in 1883 by John W. Green. Now, the original store burned down in 1897 in a wildfire that destroyed most of the buildings. John Green then contracted to the Siri Investment Group to reconstruct his building from native granite, which made it virtually fireproof. The huge blocks were hoisted into place using a mule team, a gin pole, and 6 men. The building has been in continuous use as a post office and a store and is still operated by family. Mary, John W. Green's great-granddaughter, still runs the store and the post office. Much of the interior and its fixtures are from the turn of the last century. Let's go ahead and leave here and let's make a left here on Highway 126 and go up towards Deckers. About a quarter of a mile up on the right-hand side is one of Colorado's greatest treasures. The Blue Jay Inn was built by Joseph Bailey. It was originally a bunkhouse for miners and lumbermen. He then opened it up for tourists with the idea of making it into a resort. He originally called it the Buffalo Inn. It was built in 1886. Then a man by the name of John L. Jerome bought the property in 1900. He renamed it the Blue Jay Inn. He remodeled it and moved another building onto the property, linking it with the existing building into an L shape. He then added the front porch to the north and east sides. John Jerome ran this until 1907 when it was taken over by the Girls Friendly Society, which was sponsored by the Episcopal Church. In 1947, the inn was purchased by Catherine Davis Ramus and her mother. Catherine had vacationed in Buffalo Creek ever since she was a child. Catherine operated it as a hotel and a restaurant for over 50 years. In its heyday, it rated right up there with Colorado's premier hotels like the Brown Palace in Denver and the Broadmoor Hotel in Colorado Springs. In 1974, the Blue Jay Inn was listed on the National Registry of Historic Places. And in 1996, a flash flood caused severe damage to the building, and in 1998, it ceased operation. Catherine passed away at the age of 96 in March of 2006. Today, the Blue Jay Inn is under a very slow renovation process. I hope you enjoyed this historical road trip, and I encourage you to make tracks. Load up the family, pack a picnic lunch, and see for yourself what makes Colorado so special. Until next time, drive safe and get outside. We're going to be releasing a new video every week, so make sure you hit like and subscribe and follow us. Thanks for watching.